What made Leonardo da Vinci a genius? Hint, the great Italian artist was interested in everything. This is the opening title and byline of a National Geographic interview with American author Walter Isaacson, who, amongst many works, wrote an amazingly detailed novel titled Leonardo da Vinci. What I find ironic is that our so called progressive society encourages anything but interest in everything. From a young age, the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, is one that we learn to dread. We come to realize very quickly that whilst there are no right or wrong answers to this question, at least in theory, we can only end up with one answer in the end. There wasn't much chance any adult would accept a child who wanted to be both an engineer and an artist, and yet Da Vinci was both. I found that this limited way of thinking started from my experience in school. It's likely too that your school system divided your thinking into neatly subjected boxes, packaged in such a way so as to mass produce the next generation of factory workers, or at least the modern day equivalent. Even social media brought me under the spell of singular thought. Up until as late as my final year of university, I was convinced that my follow account was solely determined by an aesthetic. This led me to try my hardest to find out which was the one medium for my art Instagram. Was it sketching, acrylic painting, digital painting, even soft pastels? None of them seemed to work, and honestly, I'm glad that they didn't because after years of fruitless trying, the wool has finally been lifted from my eyes. Over the last few years, I have come to the realization that this thinking is all wrong. Not only is pursuing art for the sake of followers truly tragic, but this idea of an aesthetic or divided subjects beg the question, why are we celebrating the singular? The singular aesthetic, the singular career, the singular individual. Why pigeonhole our identity into one version of ourselves when we hold so many? This is where I think we should take a leaf out of Da Vinci's book. Da Vinci had a plethora of interests, including anatomy, engineering, and painting. One such culmination of these many curiosities was, of course, the infamous Mona Lisa. This masterpiece is described very aptly as Da Vinci taking restless leaps from one subject to another, which have been harmonized in a single work. Back to the National Geographic article, Isaacson goes on to state that creativity comes from connecting art to science. To be really creative, you have to be interested in all sorts of different disciplines rather than be a specialist. Naturally, we as humans are complex beings. It's near impossible to have one or two simple desires. The numerous curiosities within our childhood selves are felt by society as we continue to grow older. But I think now is the time to reclaim the state of our naturally curious minds and water the ground where our interests once lay. When I let go of my own narrow-minded mentality of having to stick to one aesthetic or having to study only one subject, I, like Leonardo, started to embrace my multiplicities. I combined my love of analog art and digital, switching between them as I felt fit. I didn't feel the need to stop learning design in favor of animation. And then, why not indulge in learning a bit of history, literature, and some geography on the side? I'm coming to the conclusion that all of these things and so much more can exist within me, and I don't have to compromise on any of it. To take it a step further, through this understanding of ourselves, we can start to create our own opportunities. See what happens when you take the Da Vinci approach and combine unusually paired subjects. Overlap your interests and see what unique intersections you can occupy. And when you do, don't be afraid to hit publish and put your work out there. If you're looking to get even more inspired to create, you can click this video here, or if you're ready to jump right into creating, put this playlist on in the background to keep you company. Thanks for watching and see you next week.